Let's get back to Baltimore, where a search and rescue mission is underway after that bridge collapse. Joining us now from the scene is Bloomberg's Kailey Leinz, who, of course, is on location. Kailey, what's the latest?
Well, this search and rescue effort, Katie, is still underway. Of course, after this vessel, the Dolly, which was being chartered by Maersk, rammed into a support beam of this bridge around 1:30 in the morning. It very quickly collapsed. And what we know is there was a construction crew on the bridge at that time working on fixing potholes. Now, it is thought that 8 individuals fell into the water. 2 have been rescued, one of which is hospitalized, but there are still 6 others that are unaccounted for. There's also been a number of vehicles that have been recovered after being submerged within recent hours. Now, we do expect that President Biden will be addressing this bridge collapse coming up any minute now as he travels to North Carolina. And the Secretary of Transportation, Pete Buttigieg, will be here on site at the invitation of Maryland's Governor Wes Moore. We, of course, heard from Governor Moore earlier today when he gave a press briefing. He was asked about the timeline for the reopening of this port of Baltimore, as well as the reconstruction timeline for the bridge, which he described would be a long-term haul. He did, though, say that right now the #1 priority is saving lives and focusing on that search and rescue effort.
And that, of course, is the primary focus, like you say, Kailey. This is all about search and rescue at this moment. You mentioned that we're going to be hearing from President Biden in just a couple of minutes. What is the administration's response expected to be? Of course, we heard from Senator Van Hollen earlier today talking about the Biden administration working to release emergency funds here, for example.
Yeah, funding is really going to be one of the most paramount concerns, Katie. What exactly can be unlocked in terms of emergency funding or infrastructure funding that will facilitate the reconstruction of this bridge, which, again, could take a long time. There is no set timeline for that right now, but it is imperative because this is a very major transit way here on the East Coast, the artery of I-695. Roughly 35,000 individuals per day crossed this bridge, over 11 million vehicles per year. So there could be serious choke points as traffic has to be rerouted, not just in terms of commuter traffic and the gridlock that could create, for example, but also in terms of actually getting goods to and from the state of Maryland to elsewhere. We've heard from a trucking association that suggested 49,000 commercial trucks crossed this bridge every single day. So there could be disruptions in terms of the delivery of the goods by ground, by the roads, but then also, of course, the transit of goods through this waterway, through the port of Baltimore, an incredibly busy port, one of the largest in the country, and actually the single busiest in terms of importing and exporting autos, cars, and light trucks. Close to 850,000 of them were handled by this port just in 2023. And already, as I know you have had conversations about with Ford, for example, Katie, you are seeing some of these automakers having to reroute to other ports, trying to divert out of the port of Baltimore, which could mean there would be an uptick in traffic in ports to the north, like in New York, or even to the south in Virginia, down in Norfolk. So it's going to be about retransiting a lot of those goods, not just autos, but coal as well. 20 million tons of coal exported out of this port last year. So there could be serious disruption in terms of the supply chain perspective, and that is going to be something we're keenly watching in the coming days and perhaps coming months as well. It's going to take a while to clear the debris of this collapsed bridge and get this port reopened. There is no timeline for that at this point.